This is not a review of the KEF R3 Meta because I have already reviewed it on the Absolute Sound. Now for those of you who have not seen that video, I will put a link in the description and in the first comment. Now given I don't have to spend time talking about the speaker, so why don't I just try to entertain you with a few stories and finish off by telling you what I really think of the speaker. I actually had people ask me once that at an audio show, Thomas, between you and me, what do you really think of the Billy amp? Now, I understand where he's coming from, but everything I say in all my videos is what I really think. But here's the thing. I can be objective about an amplifier, for example, and tell you that it's great, but it might not necessarily be my cup of tea. What I like should have no importance on you when you make that decision to buy or not. So I don't always share what my own personal preferences are in all my videos. So objectively, the KEF R3 is A+. But what about subjectively? I like it, but there's one thing I would change because of my own personal taste. What is it? Allow me to answer that in my closing remarks. So, story. I got to know this dealer, T2 Audio, who's located in Winnipeg, Canada. And recently they moved to a new location and they asked me what they can do to promote their stores. I told them, look, I know the brands you have are somewhat well known, like Triangle, PMC, TriArt, and so forth. But what you really need is a heavyweight, something that has a lot of internet presence, like Manapan and KEF. So when they first got the KEF R3 Meta, Leonid, one of the owners, called me up and said, hey Thomas, man, the R3 Meta is amazing. You got to check it out. It is way better than the R3 last generation. Oh, okay. I agreed to check it out, but with two conditions. First, send me the last generation also, so I can compare it to the Meta. So that part I've already done in the video that I made on the Absolute Sound, so I'm not going to repeat it here today. Second, instead of sending me just the speaker, send me an amplifier that has good synergy with the KEF R3 Meta. So Leonid is very good with system matching, and for him, everything is a question of synergy. And I agree. Sometimes I see comments like, oh, I bought XXX gear based on the positive reviews and it was fake. The reviewer got bought off. I can understand why some people have this idea because they assume whatever they buy that's well reviewed will automatically sound good in their system. But I always say, with audio, 1 + 1 does not always equal to 2. For example, Leonid told me, if you match the Golden Note IS1000 amplifier with the KEF LS50 Meta, it will sound amazing. However, you match it with the KEF R3 Meta, it will sound just okay. All a question of matching. Anyway, so Leonid accepted my challenge. So what is the goal? To wow me. What did he send me? The Fezz Audio Torus 5060 Integrated amp. 65 watt, Class AB, costs about $2,000 USD. Oh, I love what is written on top of the amp. Made of music. Nice. So as I said, the KEF R3 is not aggressive. Okay, I won't call it polite, but definitely not like a full house speaker. So when I first power up the Fezz Audio with the R3 Meta, I was like, okay, what is Leonid going for? The amp is what I consider a polite amp. Very pleasant to listen to, not aggressive. So I would say, in fact, out of the 7 amps I A/B tested later on, I probably like its voice the most. Mr. Cantor, my audio buddy who was present that day, you see he's more into dynamics, speed, power, detail, punch, and blah, blah, blah. He's a big Focal fan. So for him, the combo was a bit too soft. I messaged Leonid and said, hey, it's pleasant sounding, great for people who just want that laid-back presentation. Leonid then said, use it with the cables I sent you. I'm like, oh boy, cables, you want to get me in trouble. So along with the Torus 5060, he also sent me interconnects, power cables, and speaker cables from AudioNote. I installed it, and right after I hit play, Mr. Cantor almost jumped out of his seat. He probably did. For him, the combo just completely transformed. It leveled up, more lively, faster, and a lot more exciting to listen to. He was very surprised, and the synergy was really good with the KEF R3 Meta. I then asked Leonid, how much are these cables? I have a bad feeling that it's not going to be cheap. 4.2 grand US. What? Are you playing a prank on me? How am I going to make a video telling people, guys, go get this $2,000 integrated amp and these $4,000 cables and you will have amazing synergy with the KEF R3 Meta. My comment section will be filled with blood and plenty of colorful comments. However, I did tell him, I don't care what you do, just wow me. And he did exactly that. Well, if you want advice on system matching going forward, no need to email me. Just call Leonid. But make sure you start a conversation with Leonid. I want advice on what amplifier has the best synergy with my speakers, but I don't want to spend 5 grand on cables. Anyways, this was definitely one of those WTF audio experiences in my audio journey. Alright, next story. One afternoon, I decided to test the KEF R3 Meta with 7 amplifiers. There was the $1,000 Willsenton R300, that's a tube integrated amp that uses 300B tubes. The $1,000 BC Acoutisque EX234 solid state. $2,000 Fezz audio integrated amp, which I talked about already. The $2,000 Tri-Art P3 integrated amp, but with their higher quality power supply. The 5 grand NAD M33 and the 7 grand Atoll IN400 solid state integrated amp. And there's some more. And now let me share with you my experience with a few of them. Okay, so one track I like to use is Stand By Me by Music Travel Love. In the song, when all 5 singers sing together, especially at loud volume, it can get shouty. I always check how well a speaker will handle that shoutiness. Usually, from my experience, a relatively flat measuring speaker will allow the shoutiness to come through. And with the KEF R3, it is borderline, okay, on this. It's a bit aggressive. I will not say it is aggressive, okay, but you're really close to that line. Actually, you know what? Try it on your system. Put in the comments. Does it get aggressive in your system? Just mention the speaker and the amp too. The first amp was the Willsenton R300 tube integrated 8-watt amp. This amp's measurement sucks, but it sounds so smooth with my 92 dB Silverline Sonata speakers. So what about the 87 dB KEF R3? Plenty of bass. The R300 can output a crazy amount of bass, but if you compare it to my own reference speaker, you'll feel that the R3 is straining a little. That shouty passage that I mentioned earlier in the song Stand By Me, with this amp, was the most shouty. So 8 watt for me is not enough to bring out the full potential of the R3. If you listen at a lowish 70 volume, okay, go for it, but you're not hearing the Willsenton or R3 at its best. The R300 will sound smooth with an easy to drive speaker, not my first choice with the KEF R3. Maybe if you listen at 70-ish dB. Next is the BC Acoutisque EX234. Now, I was going to make a video with the title, "This is the most powerful $1,000 all-in-one integrated amp you cannot buy." Well, at least in the US. Soon you will, but not now. This amp has 2 Tornado transformer. It has so much power, it can blow the fuse on the Manapan LRS if you push the volume hard. If you're looking for an affordable solution for your Manapan, hey man, this is it. Class AB, 80 watts. The mid-range is on the lively side, so I use tone control to lower the treble a bit. So with this amp and the R3 Meta, you don't have the problem of the Willsenton R300. Bass, man, has authority and power. Dynamic contrast is good. If you're looking for a solution that will give you both and play at loud volume also without feeling strained, then this BC Acoutisque is a good solution. Next, if you're looking for a solution that will give you a pleasant mid-range, surprisingly, this 35 watt Class D amp from Tri-Art is a good solution. This was sent to me also by Altitude Audio, and they included the matching higher end power supply. Interestingly, this power supply even has a tube. I've never seen a semi-affordable external power supply with a tube. 35 watt Class D. Think about it. Class D is all about insane, over-the-top, exaggerated power, and here we have only 35 watt. Was the designer smoking weed when he decided to use a 35 watt Class D module? I would say this amp is different. You probably can't tell if it's Class D. Maybe it is because of the tube in the power supply. The mid-range has a bit more body than your typical Class D, and it has a pretty smooth presentation, which is not what you expect from a Class D. This amp, for sure, is a great conversation starter. Come on, the body is made of bamboo. Also, don't think that 35 watt is not enough. It powered the R3 with no problem. Bass, although not as strong as the BC Acoustics, was adequate. Not cheap at 1.3 grand, well, plus another 1 grand for the power supply, but if you want an alternative to the Fezz audio, meaning you like that smoother presentation, this is another solid choice. It's too bad not many people know about this amp. Maybe some YouTubers out there should review it. Next, I think once you move to the $5,000 Atoll IN400, okay, this is where you see a significant improvement. I don't usually think about the performance difference between budget and expensive amp, okay? But when you do an A/B test, you'll see why there's a reason for an amp to cost 5 grand. In my KEF R3 review, I mentioned the speaker has very good resolution, and this is where you start to see what the R3 can really do. With the 7 amps, or maybe 8 amps I tried that day, the Atoll, I can hear the breath of the singer effortlessly. The bass is tight, powerful, and extremely well controlled. If you evaluated the R3 with, let's say, the R300 Willsenton, you might think that R3 bass is meh. But no, man, put it with the Atoll, completely different world. Also with the Atoll, I could hear the warmth of the mid-range. Now, although I say the Triarch Class D amp has good body, but once you move to the Atoll Class AB amp, you'll notice right away there's more body and fullness in the mid-range. With this combo, the presentation is overall neutral with the mids slightly forward. The Atoll is not the smoothest amp. That's not what it is about. The mids have texture and it pulls on my heartstring. This is a combo where you can really see what the R3 can do. So for those of you who bought the R3 and thought, it was overhyped, paid off YouTubers, it's possible your amp is simply not a good match with it. The one lesson I learned is the speaker can really scale up with better amplifiers. This is not true with many speakers I've tried. To finish the video, let me tell you what I really think of the speaker. As I mentioned in my video on the Absolute Sound, everybody who is shopping for a 2 grand speaker must check the speaker out. I don't know if it's because of the Meta technology, but unlike the previous generation of KEF, your chances of getting listening fatigue are way less. Having said that, in today's video, I used this song for a reason. One thing I noticed with good measuring speakers, which I mentioned earlier, are they're less forgiving, relatively speaking. So that shoutiness I talked about, although the KEF R3 handled it better than most speakers of Edition, it was still not as forgiving as my own Silverline Sonata speakers, which are my reference. So if you're looking for a buttery, smooth, forgiving speaker, the R3 might not be the right solution. Now, I personally, subjectively, okay, this is one thing that I'd like to change, right? Tend to favor speakers that are color and more forgiving. So more forgiving, that's what I would like. Now, that's a subjective preference. But as I said, what I like has nothing to do with you, unless you and I are audiophile twins. I would say if you're looking for a speaker that can reproduce what the artist intended, well, in quotation marks, quote-unquote more accurate, then the KEF R3 is a solid choice, because although it's not one of those ultra-smooth color speaker, it handles that shoutiness very well compared to most speakers I've tried. Finally, I would say it is a serious challenger to the Bukhara S400, and although both are good, they'll appeal to a different group. The R3 is better in refinement and resolution, while the S400 is better in creating that wide soundstage. So which speaker you should choose will depend on what you prioritize. For me, although I think both speakers are excellent, depending on your taste, there is a clear winner. Alright, so I think that's it for today. I'll see if I have the energy to record the sound demos for each of the amps. If I do, it'll probably be like 4 or 5 sound demos. And with that, I'll see you next time.
I never think, I never know how I'm stuck and left is not defined. Won't you kiss me? Won't you play? Won't you drive me? Ain't no way I could deny you. I could stray. Won't you kiss me? Ain't no way. Won't you? Gonna drive me nuts. Gonna drive me I never think, I never know. I'm stuck and left alone. I've been lost, I've been fine. My cause is not defined. Won't you kiss me? Won't you play? Won't you drive me? Ain't no way I could deny you. I could stray. Won't you kiss me? Ain't no way. Gonna drive me nuts. Gonna drive me I never think, I never know. I'm stuck and left alone. I've been lost, I've been fine. My cause is not defined.